let's work on another ornament. So we're gonna go ahead and take, now this is a wooden Christmas ornament, but I like these because they have the little hole in them at the top. So if, you know, I want to hang it, I can, I have that option. Or if I want to put it on a tiered tray, that's fine too, because normally I put bows on everything. So it's going to cover that and not make it appear to be a Christmas ornament unless I want it to look like a Christmas ornament. So that's my reasoning behind all this. So we are going to do a tissue paper, and I think I have tissue paper, and I have, oh, where did it go? I have a napkin too. And we're going to do the decoupage, Mod Podge on the bottom and put the animal print on the bottom and make another ornament for our tiered tray. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out by painting the bottom white, and I just use Waverly chalk paint. Just make sure your tape is down really good so you don't get any bleeding. And we're going to paint where we're going to put the tissue paper or napkin, whichever you decide to do. I'm going to do the white, so then it just kind of gives it something to attach to, and also brightens up the print. Makes it so you can see it better. Makes it pop, I guess you should say. Okay, and I'm just going to do the top here. Real nice thin coat, and we're going to let that dry, and then we will put our Mod Podge down next. Okay, so now that our paint is dry, we're going to go ahead and lay down a layer of Mod Podge, and we're going to let that dry completely, and then we'll move on next to applying the tissue paper or the napkin. Like I said, you just want a single layer of tissue paper, and same with the napkin. You just kind of cut a piece that you think will fit your project. Okay, so let's do the Mod Podge, and I use the matte one just because I have more versatile uses for the matte, but you can use whatever you want. We're just gonna brush a good coat of that on. Same way you did the paint. I left my tape just so I have a clean, crisp line when I peel that off. And we'll be peeling that off after the layer of Mod Podge dries. So we'll let that dry and we will come back. We are back. So I decided I kind of got ahead of myself on doing the Mod Podge is fine, but I forgot a step. I want to put some stain on the top of this. So I figured I was going to do that now while the tape is down. It'll just be so much easier. And then we can just pull the tape off, then go to our napkin or our tissue paper, whichever we decide. Open this bad boy up. I like the water base just because it's so much easier to clean up. You can use whatever you like. You can even use your paint and do the baby wipe method, you know, whatever's easy for you. Go ahead and pull off this tape. Okay, it's easy enough. Then what we're going to do is we are going to take this wax paper out from underneath here, so when I iron, I don't melt it to my board here. And then you just, like I said, take your 1-ply napkin or tissue paper, and we're going to line that up over where we put the Mod Podge, and just kind of line up how you like the pattern of the napkin, what you want on there. And then make sure I'm on screen. I tend to migrate off and not even realize it. Hopefully you guys can see okay. And we're going to lay that down right where we want it. Get our iron. And we're just going to go over this a few seconds to melt that Mod Podge and get that napkin and tissue to adhere. It doesn't take much. Okay, we'll let that cool for a second. And then all you're going to do after that, I use sanding blocks just because they're easy for me. You're just going to sand down on the edge, and it's going to cut that tissue right off of there, and it'll make it nice and clean. Okay. I just want some color under there, so if it peeks through, it doesn't look like raw wood. And more than likely, when I'm all done, I will go back through and paint all these edges, just because I prefer them to be covered. See, so you can see, it just looks more finished to me. Okay. Okay, so let's put our wax paper under here. Get our black paint. Press that down. I need some more paint. Getting to the end. Put a second coat on and we'll let that dry. We'll peel off the paint and decide what we want to put in that black strip, because I think we'll chalk something on there, a sentiment of some sort, and then make a bow for it and seal it. It'll be done. So stand by. Okay, you guys, let's finish up the last part of our wooden disc here. And we're going to go ahead and just peel this tape off now that the paint is dry. You kind of want to pull against where you painted, so then it makes a clean line. Okay. I also wanted to tell you, you can do this on anything. Like I even have made earrings doing this method. So just little wood cutouts and do the same thing. Really cute. So many things. And we're just gonna swipe on some chalk paste, put a little sentiment on there. Oh no, I just pulled that up a little bit. I thought I fuzzed it enough. Okay, let's see how we did. I can tack that back down. I can hit it with the iron again. Look how cute that is. Okay, so we will tack that, hit it with the iron one more time and tack that back down. I might not have gotten enough heat in that area. And then we'll seal this up and I'll put a bow on it and we will call it good. Okay, so have a great day. If you have any questions, like I said, message me or drop them in the comments. I'd be happy to help you out with anything. And go have fun with this and share with me what you create. All right, you guys, have a good day. Oh, let's make a bow for this. I like the raggy type bows. So for me, I use a lot of fabric. This is muslin, just, you know, excuse me, coffee dyed, tea stained, and all of that. And then I just cut them into strips, and I like the look of the raggy edges and stuff like that. It just kind of goes along with the bows that I like. So I'm trying to, looks like I'm going to cut these in about 5-inch strips, and then we'll probably have to trim down. So let's cut. I like to make them a little bit bigger, and then once I do get them where I want and fluff them out, and then I go through and trim. So let's do 4 of each one. And I think, what did I pick out? 4 fabrics, or 4 ribbons. This is fabric. Okay, so there's 4 of that. I like the gold, especially with animal print. I really like the gold. Now this one is wired, but I don't care because it's gonna be fine with what I do with it. So let's cut out 4 of these. It's not really any rhyme or reason. And it doesn't have to be perfect because you're going to end up trimming them in the end, like I said. Now this is seam binding that I've gotten wet and scrunched up and rubber banded till it dries, so it gets that crunchy look. This is really lightweight, and I just love the look of it. I have several colors. And of course, you gotta have animal print. Okay. Just do it this way. You could sit in front of the TV and make these bows at night. Just have them on hand, different colors, ribbons that you love. They're so easy. All right, so all you do is take your, I like to do my widest one as my base and then build up from there, and I just do an X. And let me turn on my glue gun, and then I'm going to do, actually, you know what I think I'm going to do? We'll do it like this. We'll layer them and then we'll put them in an X. How about that? And we're just going to do 2 layers. Not like that. Let's see. And there's, like I said, there's no rules. You just do it how you like the look. And then you just repeat it. So you have 2 with 2 layers deep. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this on top of it so it doesn't spring out of form. Sometimes these ribbons have a mind of their own and they do what they want to do. Okay, so let's start the second layer. Okay, then you're going to take your 2 piles, 2 layers deep, and you're going to make an X. You're going to crisscross those, just like this. See it? I'm just going to use the seam binding that I have, and we're going to Wrap that around. You can do a zip tie, you can do a really thin ribbon, you can use jute, you know, anything you want to use to get that gathered up. You can use floral wire. I normally tend to go with just ribbon because it's easier for me. It's easier for me to tighten it and just have a little more control. So then you just scrunch it as tight as you can. My fingers are probably in the way so you can't even see, and then I just tie a knot. Tie another one for safety so it doesn't come undone. And then if it's not completely centered, because sometimes it can get out of whack when you're trying to fight with it, then just kind of center it up or trim it up to be centered. And then I'm just going to cut this tail off, leaving tails until I decide how I'm going to attach it. And it also depends on what you're attaching it to. So, you know, if you're attaching it to a wreath, you might need a long tail, or if you're going around something thick. This I probably won't because it's just right here, and more than likely I'll glue it. But I mean, I could, in theory, put it through this hole and glue it onto there and have this as the hanger if it's something that I wanted to hang. I'm using it in my tiered tray, so more than likely once I fluff this, I will put it right there. So then what you do is you just pull these apart so you can fan them all out, each layer. You just kind of go in opposite directions of what you had. You know, you just fan them out and then kind of see where you're at. And then what I do after I kind of get them to where I like them, then I start trimming down the edges, you know, dovetailing the edges or angling them, you know, whatever works for you. And don't be afraid to kind of pull tight on these to get them where you want to go, because sometimes they can be a pain and not want to stay. So if you've got that good and tight and you're not, you should be okay then to pull and tug and not have a problem. But see, I like all the little wispy because they kind of just hang and do a different thing than the wired. So you have all these little textural elements to it. So now what I'll do is, let's see. So that's, to me, a little bit on the large size. So I probably want to take a good ½ inch off, just for my liking. You can do whatever you want. So what I'll do is I will start in the back, and I like to dovetail. I'm not gonna lie, I like the look of dovetail. So if you don't know, you fold it in half. You go from the folded side out to the straight edge. Always folded side. Well, these are my crappy scissors too. So that's a dovetail. But you can also, you know, do both. You can do straight edge. Well, this one is a little bit on the short side, so probably not take off too much length. This one. And you just sit there and you just trim everything until you get it the length that you want. And then you probably have to fan it and spread it and pull on it and get it everywhere you want it to be. before you attach it. It's really a pretty simple process. Trim away. That's probably the most time consuming thing, is just getting your bow where you want it to be. I should have gotten my fabric scissors out just to make this a little more easy. Don't want to trim this one too much because I want it to have that wrinkly effect, but I can also re-dampen it and scrunch it in the bow as well. So and also you can do as many layers as you want. The more layers, the thicker it is, and the more full your bow will be. Trim this line. And because I don't really measure, I just kind of do it all willy-nilly. Sometimes I end up, you know, having one side shorter than the other, but it's not life or death. I just go in there and trim it up. And I've been doing this a long time, so I kind of have a feel for it. If you're new to it, you know, be mindful of how much you're taking off, and until you kind of get the hang of it. That's going to need a little bit off of that. This one too. I love making bows. It's so fun. I struggled with bows for the longest time, and countless tutorials and trying to figure it out and make it work and stuff. And all it is just get in there and practice. And if you have any doubts, find tutorials or people that are willing to walk you through the process, because it really isn't that hard. It really is pretty darn simple. Hope we missed this one. Once you get it down. Okay, so how are we looking? Thinking. I think we need a little more from that. Yeah, that's looking better. See what I mean? To just pull, separate, and just kind of shape it. And those are my ties. And I sometimes will leave the ties and I'll just trim them down, you know, even, so it just adds more ribbon to it. And that's probably, I think, what I'm going to do here is just kind of trim it down. Let's see, let's get this mess out of the way. That we don't want to cover up, so I don't want to cover up my sentiment, so I'll probably bring that up a little bit. Let's trim this one a little bit just so it doesn't cover up my words that we chalked. this can go on a shelf. You could hang it. If you do trees, I'm specifically making it for my tiered tray. But you can add it to wreaths. You can add it to a cutting board. I mean, a present, anything. Anything your heart desires. Okay. Now, I have to stand up so I can see. One of those people. I love it because it's full. I like full bows. And I think it's cute. So I will probably attach it just like that. And I may go back in. I don't know. I kind of I'm one of these kind of crafters that I make something and then I look at it. And sometimes I'll change it, or sometimes, you know, I'll modify it. And more than likely, I may take this a little bit shorter just so we can see, or maybe I'll just attach it up higher. How about that? If I glue it up here, I don't know. I don't know if it's too big to be up that high without anything in the background, but I kind of want to see the wood stain that we did. So I'm not sure. I think if I put it up that high, it kind of needs to come in a little bit. That's my thoughts on that. So, but if not, maybe we should keep it low. It covers kind of up our little wood flaw there. Let's see. One of these, I've got to look at it. I think it's adorable. And I think, you know what? I think I'm going to leave it just like that. Then I have the top. If I do want to ever hang it, once I take it off my tier tray, I think that works for me. So I think that completes it. I will go and seal this afterwards just to protect it since we used paper and stuff. So I'll do that before I glue on the bow. But once I do that, then I'll do the edges like I had said. Probably the back. I'll stain the back so it's uniform. And then it'll be done. But I will post finished pictures. And like I said, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. And follow for more crafty goodness. And I hope y'all have a good day.